Hello, and thank you for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalists Hangout. I am Adewale Adeniyi. Today on the program, NAFDAC closes 100 shops in Enugu State over sale of fake beverages. Nigeria Customs Service intercepts containers carrying arms worth 13.9 billion naira in Rivers State. And later on the show, Southwest State's Firm Up Food Production Program. I'll be hanging out with Olayinka Oyegbile. Good to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much.
And Dr. Oladipo. Good to have you here today.
Good evening.
If you're ready, just as we are, the Journalist Hangout starts now. The way to a healthier and more prosperous society is hinged on the protection of human lives in all ramifications. In the pursuit of this objective, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has shut down about 100 shops at the Ogbete main market in Enugu State and at over alleged sales of suspected fake beverages. NAFDAC also confiscated a truckload of adulterated products and arrested 4 suspects during the raid. Director of the agency in the Southeast, Martins Eluyomade, noted that efforts will be intensified to rid the zone of adulterated products and food items. Gentlemen, NAFDAC is out again. The last time we had something this massive was in December 2023, the Eziokwu market in Abia State, and of course, the entire market was actually shut down. Now about 100 shops have been shut down in Enugu State, and NAFDAC is just forging ahead. Olayinka, what is your take on this?
Well, honestly, we must commend NAFDAC for this good job. It is surprising that people at this time will continue to do such things. You know, before, we used to have what they call in Lagos, Eruku Oshodi. That's where people manufacture their own local beverages, but you will know when you are buying that this is what it is. But in this situation now, you now use the container of a reputed beverage company, and then I'm buying it, thinking I'm buying the original, whereas I'm buying a fake one. And that's the reason why today we have a lot of issues of kidney failure, lung problem, and things like that. We must continue to be very vigilant to make sure that such things don't happen. Why is it that people are so bent on making money at the expense of human life? It is the same thing that happens when you see fake brake fluid, fake engine oil, and all that. Why are people desperate to make money at the expense of human life? If all these things were not things that had to do with human life, perhaps you might say, well, no problem. But even then, if you must do anything, you must have a certification. There must be standard. So now, I know that Ogbete market very well because I did my youth service in Enugu. Now, you go there, you now want to buy a particular product, yes. You get a substandard product. You get home, you discover, and sometimes because we are also not people who report things, you just see it and say, oh, and then you forget about it without trying to trace the origin or getting to NAFDAC or the institution that is in charge to let them know that this is what you have experienced. I think NAFDAC and other agencies, SON and so on, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, they must especially wrap up their attention, especially at this time. You know, it is when things are difficult that people tend to be desperate to make money. What do I mean? The economy is hard now. Everybody is crying, no money, no this, no that. And everybody is looking for cheap things.
But is there ever a time you don't have fakes around? Is there ever a time you don't have fake products in the market?
Yeah, there will never be a time you will not have it, but it is mostly common during what people call hard period. Because when you say times are hard now,
trying to save cost, would want to go for that which is cheaper.
Exactly.
And the percentage of reduction in the price or amount is usually so tiny.
So minimal. And
yes.
None.
Exactly.
Sometimes none.
Yes.
You know, sometimes none. It's so demoralizing that some people are bent on staining the business acumen of the Southeasterners. Because when you go back over time, yes, these things happen in other markets too.
Of course.
In the South, West, in the
North.
But you know what we've always known the Igbo for is trading, bringing innovation.
Ingenuity.
Their ingenuity is top-notch. And that's why the kind of markets you find in the Southeast, the cluster, the way they trade in terms of defining, okay, this belongs to the clothesline, you can hardly find that kind of organization in other places because they are business-like. If you go to some markets, you find out that they just deal in medicines.
Yeah, exactly.
As a sole product.
Yeah, but now you find out that men of evil characters, they are infiltrating. They are selling us things. You know, I know of a lot of people who go from Lagos to Aba to go and bring fabrics.
Yes.
Whereas most of these fabrics, a lot of people believe they come in through Lagos.
Yes.
But you find them in larger quantities and cheaper in Aba. Even the sewing.
Yeah.
They are so neat and perfect. But people are beginning to put doubts in the minds of people with issues like this.
Yeah.
How do you have a market with 100 shops sealed? We know this definitely it won't be limited to this 100.
Oh, no.
But with a whole 100, then what you have done to that market is to cast a doubt on it. Yeah. And then render those who are doing genuine businesses, render them useless and susceptible to all of these things. Like my boss said, people do not actually take into consideration the repercussions of the things that they do. That's why it's easy these days to find us battling cancer.
They want quick gains.
Yes, they are just particular about the quick gains. So one must commend NAFDAC for this good job and say it should continue. Because in the past, we've read of reports of these people even sending these products out of Nigeria to sell. So they are not only going to give that market a bad name, they're also going to give Nigeria a bad name. Because there are some countries around us who depend on products from Nigeria. And then even up to bottled water. I know people who cannot buy soft drink and water inside traffic, no matter how tasty they are.
Yeah.
Because virtually everything has been turned upside down. And you are not even sure of what you are taking. Sometimes you open some carbonated drinks and instead of it bringing out gas, just find out that the thing has just settled. Some bottles of beer.
This is unusual.
It's so unusual. So NAFDAC needs to do more.
And what do citizens need to do to support NAFDAC in this quest?
We also need to report.
Don't keep quiet.
Keep quiet, because we have seen cases, especially in Lagos, where police, NAFDAC have made arrests of people producing fake. It was those around them.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
We noticed this is happening here, especially in areas like Mushi,
yeah,
Oshodi. You know, people say all of these things, but a lot of people don't talk. And that is why, for me, one other point.
Yes.
The market associations should be held liable
for all
things like that. Because why did we elect them? Why are they in position of authority?
Unless those people are not members. And most of them, even if they are not members, you need to
know what is going on in those shops.
But it's difficult for you to be in the same market and not be members of the association. Because exactly. They would always bug them.
So you need to know your members. What do they do? Is this person selling fake? Is he doing genuine business? But a lot of these market associations, the only thing that they pay attention to
just collect revenue. All right, and as we wrap up on that topic, I think it's also good to mention to people to watch out for expiry dates. And beyond that, because we also hear and know about, okay, well, let's say we've heard of people who switch the dates.
Yeah.
They just clean it up and write something or some other thing on it. You could even find the production date as a date that is still ahead. So just be vigilant, be watchful of what you buy, what you consume.
Yeah.
All right. Now to our next topic for the day. Like product adulteration, smuggling is another menace bedeviling our country. But the Nigeria Customs Service has continued to show an unwavering commitment to exposing activities of smugglers. As such, customs operatives intercepted 9 containers carrying offensive items worth about 13.9 billion naira. The seized items include arms, ammunition, illicit drugs, and second-hand clothes. Speaking on the seized items at the Onne Port in Rivers State, the Comptroller-General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, noted that one of the containers, which originated from Turkey, raised suspicions due to the number of risk factors associated with the importation. Let's share the story by TVC News' Uche Okoro with you.
It is one of the largest seizures of illegal arms by the Customs Service. Officials placed the shipment under surveillance from its destination in Turkey after suspecting illegal activity.
We followed diligently as the importer of this container attempted to circumvent our procedure through the outlet of a private bondage terminal. The suspicious container was subjected to thorough physical examination. The result reveals the following alarming contents. Number 1, we had inside the container 844 units of assorted rifles. Number 2, 112,500 pieces of live ammunition.
It is a major breakthrough in the government's effort to curb revenue leakage, but more importantly, its implications for national security. Some persons have been arrested in connection with the shipment, but their identities were not made public.
These rifles and ammunition were concealed using various items such as doors, furniture, plumbing fittings, and leather bags. The duty paid value, if we are to calculate the value and the duty paid of the container itself, is estimated at 4 billion.
The Customs Service handed over the seizure to the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, whose job is to trace, document, store and destroy illegal weapons.
This handover is not merely a procedural formality. It represents a commitment to international best practices in the safekeeping and destruction of intercepted and retrieved illegal weapons. By consolidating our resources and coordinating our actions, we can prevent any risk of diversion or loss of these arms and ammunition.
Authorities have promised thorough investigation to unravel the motive, the sponsors and end users of these arms. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Onne.
When this news broke yesterday, and I saw the pictures, live pictures of these arms and ammunition, 844. I mean, I didn't know what to say.
I think we should equally add to it that the brother of the arms and ammunition was also in that container.
Which is?
Illicit drugs. Tramadol, codeine. with duty paid value of 9.6 billion naira. So what it means is the factors that enable or fuel irrational behavior, we have two of them
combining that
in that seizure. Because when you look at most of the attacks we have in the country, most of the bandits, most of the terrorists that we have, they are usually people who engage in drugs and they have access to arms and ammunition. It's been established very clearly. In the early years of Boko Haram, when we were still trying to understand what this is all about. Is it just simply religion? And at some point, we had the military, especially the Nigerian army, enter into the camps of these people when they pushed them out. Some of the things they found beyond the arms and the ammunition are drugs. Tramadol especially. Though they also still find pleasurable things they use for pleasure like condoms there. But you find tramadol there, you find a lot of bottles of codeine-based syrups. You find gum, which they say they also sniff. And then you can begin to understand that if somebody can, this is just the duty paid value we are talking about.
Yeah.
9.6 billion of tramadol codeine in one seizure. That's massive.
Massive indeed. You know,
massive.
The arms and ammunition were in one container. There were 8 other containers that contained these other items. Now, this is just what they were able to capture.
Exactly.
Who knows how many others
slip
through?
You know, in fact, up till this moment, I'm still alarmed and scared. Because mere looking at those things, the first question I ask myself is, are we a nation at war? Because if it is a nation at war and you want to arm your military men or whatever, these are kind of things you import.
Even if it's a nation at war, it will be the government bringing it in.
That is what I'm saying. So I still feel goose pimples and feel creepy anytime I watch it and I see like this pump action gun. What for? What if you allowed this one to seep into Nigeria today? Will be worse than what we are already in now. And as he said, to know that these things were not even alone. They had drugs and so on and so you know that definitely these were not things that are being imported for any good reason. Why should we have pump gun, action gun, AK-47 and all that? These are not pistols. These are real combat guns. So I honestly want to once again salute the Nigerian customs. Because if you say it is worth 13.9 billion naira, it means that the importer will be ready to give even $1 billion, if not more,
to settle.
To settle these people that look less. And then you ask yourself, what exactly do they want to do with it? Are we like a transit camp for this ammunition? Are there some people who come to Nigeria to come and buy them?
Where's the final destination?
Exactly. So, or is it that all this will be used inside the same country that we are in today? We have not had all this. We are having all these troubles. We must always be vigilant. And the custom, the NDLA, and all those security agencies at the ports, they must make sure that they have their well-trusted men and women at the port so that they can be very vigilant and they will not be easily tempted. Because when you look at this thing now, you ask yourself, what exactly is the motive? And then, at the port, they talk of what they call pre-shipment inspection. Was there no pre-shipment inspection in Turkey?
For this particular one, the customs even said that suspicion arose, especially regarding the container carrying the arms from Turkey.
Exactly.
And they had their eyes on it since then, waiting, monitoring it every step, No,
that's where I'm going that, okay, now, if there is suspicion, is there no way that we could have asked them to either return it mid-sea or maybe what they
there is no way we would have been able to
arrest
people. It's good for us
because I'm still scared, honestly.
Because for me, I also see it as a good one for the customs.
Yes.
But beyond that is the fact that we have these things in. Nothing stops the government from converting to good use. That's why I like the step that the CG took. At that briefing, we had a representative of the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. At that same briefing, we had the coordinator of the Small Arms and Light Arms Committee. That's retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, Johnson Kokumo. So it shows that there is synergy.
There is synergy.
And if they were going to do 100% inspection, like they did, it also meant that the customs worked with NDLEA, police, and others, even EFCC, American Financial Crimes Commission, and ICPC. That's the meaning. All those agencies that are there, which makes it good. But like he said, what we need to do is to get to the bottom of this. Because if you have, say, about 50 billion to bring in these things, then we will need to know the motive.
Yeah.
Where is it headed to? Some people must have showed up, including those they arrested, perhaps to bribe. We need to get to the bottom of it. Because in 2021, I recollect there was a story, a major story in the newspaper that asked the question, all of these kind of seizures we have made in the past, where are they?
Yeah.
Because we need to be able to tell Nigerians that these things are also not slipping back into the society. Because when we look at what is happening in different parts of the country, especially in the southeast, northwest, north central, and northeast, a lot of arms and ammunition are on the loose. It gets tiring when you have to go to check the figures. How many of such light arms? And these ones are not light.
They are not by any means. They are not.
Heavy weapons.
Everyone. How many of them are in circulation? Because sometimes you see these people who claim to be members of IPOB, who claim to be members of ESN, carrying some of these weapons. You see the bandits and terrorists in the north
carrying all
of these things. So we need to be able, if this happens to be the sources, then we should be able to track some of those who are behind it.
All right,
we really need it.
All right, gentlemen. Let's take a moment. When we come back, the conversation continues and journalists hang out. Please stay with us. Just because of... Anyway, we don't know if that's the final destination.
Of course. No, this is the best comparison because they know that attention will not be on Not when the election is.
Many thanks for staying with us on the Tuesday edition of Journalists Hangout. We are still talking about the seizures made by the Nigeria Customs Service. 844 rifles were recovered. Those rifles, alongside with some drugs, second-hand clothing, ammunition, and several other items at the Onne Port in Rivers State. The Comptroller-General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, and others briefed the press there, talking about those seizures. You were making a point, Dotun, before the break, the need for us to get to the bottom of this matter.
Yes, there is a need for us to really do. Because even in recent past, we've had such seizures, meaning that these people are not getting deterred. Yeah. They don't care how long it takes them, because I can't imagine somebody losing about 25, 50 billion in a failed venture and then still wanting to do it again. March 17, 2024, I think and here, seizures were made. Yeah. November 5, 2023, in Port Harcourt, same place, same thing. July 17, 2023, Tinkan was the same thing. In fact, in the case of that of July 17, these things were stuffed inside bags of charcoal, just to ensure they get away with it. So we need to be able to, at some point, what some agencies in Nigeria, security agencies in Nigeria did, was to try to track the source of funding of terrorism. Mm. And at that point, when we got it right, and they were able to cut off some, because they have found new routes of funding, which are not as effective as it used to be. That's why these things are going down. Mm. We also need to be able to find the source of this. Because until when we cut it off, these things won't stop. We know of people who are outside Nigeria who are trying to throw stones into Nigeria. Yeah. We've had people who are not even sure will know what Nigeria looks like again, who have stayed but who are always bitter about what is happening in Nigeria. Yeah. We need to start tracing sources. All right. So that we get it right.
Mm. So the Customs Service mentioned that about 3 suspects have been arrested, but the identity, is not revealed just yet.
Yes, because they are still suspects, and also because they also need to protect them. Because, as he has said, anyone or any group of persons that have put down this amount of Naira will do everything possible to protect his identity. So these 3 people that have been arrested, if they tell us their names or show us their pictures now, it might jeopardize the investigation. So the best thing to do is to allow them to give their, to tell us what they know about it. It is from there that they will now begin to trace it the more. Because you know that in this one now, it is the vigilance of the custom that led to this. It's not as if they brought all the guns just like that. They were hidden in furniture, doors, things like that. So second-hand clothing and all those things that you will look at and you say, oh, they are not, they are innocuous things. Is this the same way that they need to look at even vehicles imported, containerized vehicles and so on and so forth? They need to be more vigilant to look at all those things, as Yoruba would say, yebe yebe. Look at it in all ramifications to ensure that what you declare is what is there. I mean, it is still a misery that some people will be out there, either as Nigerians or even not as Nigerians, will be making sure that they destabilize the country. We must not give them that room. Because in all this, the way I see it is that there must be some people who are behind all this. Either they are Nigerians or they are not Nigerians. And we know the way it is going, this thing will lead to future crisis, because if you allowed all these things to get into this country now, so I'm just short of words, because up till this moment, when I look at that picture, the video, I get scared. I say, what is in the mind of those people who are bringing this thing in?
It's very scary.
We are not, this is not Lebanon, this is not South Sudan, neither is it. I mean, it is things like, it was things like this that led to what happened in Liberia and Sierra Leone. And Nigeria is too big and too populated for us to go to sleep.
Indeed,
we must not allow this to happen.
Yes, and it also speaks to the need for us to invest in intelligence gathering, and invest in machines, in technology that can help us search, just like that word you used, search through whatever comes in, search through thoroughly to ensure that we don't miss out anything.
Yeah, you are very right on that. We've always clamored for intelligence gathering. And I think it worked here. We've seen the power of it. There was a time in the National Assembly when proposals were made for scanners for the ports. These things don't come cheap again.
No.
It might not be feasible saying we want to invest in it now. Not because this part of, this sector is not important, but because Nigeria is going through a lot. So, it is still our officers and men who are going to keep appealing to this. You do as much as they can. Because I don't envy them having to do 100% inspection, using their hands, pulling this, pulling that. We see the way it's easy, even when you have to use sniffer dogs to bring out, to search out cocaine and all that, other drugs. It's easier than having to,
bring down everything.
And checking. So we are going to keep investing. But until when that happens, when we have the right equipment that can do it for us, we've also got to have men and officers who are willing, diligent. For instance, not long ago, we heard of a policeman who rejected a 150 million naira bribe, which is good. We've heard of others. And I know in this case, if we probe further, we'll see that money would have been offered.
Yes.
But was rejected. Those are the kind of men we need now.
And then we also need to invest in the welfare of our officers.
Yes, which is important.
Because if they are well taken care of, if they are well fed,
they'll be less tempted.
Yes.
In fact, that for me is the most crucial aspect of all we are talking about. Because there are ways to look at it. A man that is well taken care of will be patriotic. And such a person will know that, look, if I allow this thing to go in, it might not affect me directly, but it might affect someone that I know, someone that is close to me. So with that, taking care of our security personnel is very, very important. we are not discountenancing the fact that we need to invest in technology. Yes, technology helps a lot in doing all this. But in the same way, technology will not use itself. It is man that will use the technology. Okay, if you have scanners and you have on-duty disgruntled officials and they turn off the scanner, are we going to say that we don't have the technology? No. So all we need, as much as we are emphasizing technology, we must also emphasize the need to take good care of the personnel and also make sure that people don't stay too long in a particular position or a particular spot. Because by the time they stay too long in a particular spot, they get complacent and also get compromised. So, but in a situation where you've taken good care of them, and then from time to time you change them, and then you reorientate them, that will make sure that we have a service that is very, very efficient. We must not fail to emphasize that. Right. Technology is to be used by man. And if man fails to use, I mean, you have a situation where there was a case in an office that has a CCTV. The day they were going to steal something, it was one of the officials who know that there's a CCTV that turned it off. But unfortunately, or fortunately, while he was doing that, he never reckoned that he had been recorded. And so it was that let the cat out of the bag, as they say. That he had to be pinpointed, and at the end of the day, he confessed. So we must make sure that even when we have technology, people that are going to man those technological equipment are also not people that will be easily compromised.
All right, so we're checking out for their character. And he also said something about rotation. Don't keep officers at a certain post for too long, so they don't become complacent and compromised in the process. All right, but of course, kudos to the Nigeria Customs Service.
Oh no, and huge one.
All the agencies that worked with them to
NAFDAC,
show this.
Customs. At least they have our support, because look, this is what we always say on this program.
Yes.
Anytime we censor any agency, it is not because we don't like them. It is because we want them to do better. And they should not feel that maybe the next time when they fall on the other side and we talk about it, they'll say, no, we don't talk about the good things we have done. We will always talk about the good things we have done, but we will also point out to you where you fall short. All right. And so, NAFDAC
commendation for today.
Today's commendation.
You want that.
All right, and our final topic for the day. As the old adage says, agriculture is the backbone of civilization. And governors in the Southwest have come to the realization that food production is essential to national development. The governors in the zone have embarked on a transformative journey to reshape agriculture in the zone by unfolding their plans for massive food production. The governors have also concluded plans to revive moribund dams in the region for irrigation. This is in response to President Bola Tinubu's call to state governors to boost food production. The state commissioners for agriculture are to develop the agreed template during their meeting Dotun, the issue of food security is back on the front burner. I don't think it ever left, really, because the reality is staring us right in the face, and we're all just looking for a way out. And these governors seem to be, taking the bull by the horn.
Well, we've always seen, or we've always known, that countries that succeed in tackling hunger, they always live above board. Because the first basic needs of man, when we go back to the hierarchy of needs, it happens to be very crucial. That. So if we are hungry, then we are likely to be angry. Yeah. And from being angry, something close to what happened in Kenya some days back can also happen in Nigeria. And that's, you know, some days back, we spoke about the costs. In fact, it's good. The TV is bringing image of tomatoes. About people who are buying 4 pieces for 2,000 naira. Something that you can go with your 2,000 naira and buy a basket of tomatoes, a basket of this, and all for 2,000 and still get home in 1 piece. That's what is happening to us. We had a conversation somewhere, and some people said, why is the Southwest always waiting for tomatoes from the North? And one of the things that came up was that the species that can grow in the Southwest is not as good as the one you have in the North. And I said, for me, I want to disagree. Because it is for you to create the environment.
Technology
has taken us beyond that. There was, luckily for us, if we remember the history of International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, it was first in the Southwest before it went elsewhere. In Ibadan, before they went and established elsewhere in the country. They've given us good seeds that you can plant anywhere. They brought the seeds for the biggest yam we can find. Yeah. Which they say now you find in the Benue, Enugu axis, which, especially in Benue, which is now troubled by crisis, gunmen everywhere. People can't go to the farm. So for the Southwest, it's kudos to the governors. At least now they are talking about it. Now they know that there is a problem. Now they know that agriculture can help us out. In talking about it, they have to be firm. When the candidate of the Labour Congress said some days back that governors should work together, he was talking to those in the Southeast. But I am saying it that all the governors in all the regions need to work together. Yeah. Because without working together, you can't achieve as much as you want to. For instance, I knew there was a time in Lagos State, the Lagos State government wanted land for agri. It went as far as Ogwanondo to go and get land because there wasn't here. That is part of the working together because you need to collaborate, explore all options, pull resources together. Because when you have yours, I have mine, if we put it together, it becomes better. Yeah. And that is the power of synergy. Before going into the things that they need to do, at least that's the first step. Work together. They've always had a platform to do business. Yeah. The Odua Group. Somehow, you found that everybody just went
their own way.
In different directions. They were pulling. Odua Group did a lot. All the industrial clusters that we have.
In Ikeja, Ogba, and the rest of them.
Ogun State is even there. It's there in Oyo State too. Yes. It's there in a lot of states. It was the Odua Group that spearheaded it. They have this already. And the good news is, even if Lagos was not part of it before, now it is. So it means all the 6 Southwest states are in Odua Group. Can they make it stronger, better, to drive this? They say government shouldn't do business, but government can give a template. It can pull out the funds, even if it means bringing in people from the private sector. Let's do something. We have a lot of arable land in the Southwest. We see it. We see people who do the small things. I've been to Fashola farms in Oyo, for instance. And I saw the kind of things that technology can do. Where they had cages for yam, for potato, everything growing there, and well too. Well supervised, under hygienic conditions. You can't, and then you have all manner of live feeds, livestock, yeah, that you can talk about. When you look at the cows there, you'll be amazed.
Yeah.
Very different from the ones that they push around town, destroying people's farms. So it's a good one.
All right. And in this, security should not be an issue because the military has spoken about ensuring security for farmers, when they go about their businesses.
What we are doing is we are not reinventing the wheel. The wheel is already there. All you just need is to follow it. The Southwest governors, what they need to do now is they should go back into the archive. Yeah. There is that template that the Western region had. We have farm clusters around the country, around the Southwest region. They look at, okay, this is what can grow in this area. They concentrate on it. For instance, in Ogbomoso, they concentrated on cashew nuts. In Okeogun, they have what they concentrated on. So
Okeogun was also cashew nuts.
Exactly. So we should, the Southwest governors, they don't need to reinvent the wheel. And I believe all of them, almost all of, or in fact, all of them must have gone to Israel before. Israel is largely a desert. But Israel today provides its own food and even export. So if we have a vast area of land in the Southwest, the same thing in the North, everywhere. In fact, the beauty about Nigeria is that there's hardly any part of Nigeria that cannot grow a particular thing. So all we need to do is let all the governors, well, the Southwest governors are coming together, yes. The Northwest governors, the Southeast governors, all of them should think again. Look, we have neglected agriculture for so long. Why are we neglecting it? What do we need to recapture this agri and make sure the Yoruba will tell you that they be turning that if you are already able to feed a man, you've already solved half of his problem.
You've taken away his poverty.
Exactly. So what we need to do now is we don't want a situation where it is only mouth. They just talk about it to catch sand bites. Exactly. Sand bite and all that. We must see them do it. There are very arable land all over the country. The governors must look inward. Why is it that they do all these, okay, now you say you want to build an airport. You take over farmland. You build an airport. The airport is not viable. Those who are farming on it, you have dispossessed them of the land. So what is the airport for? So we must look back now. Even when you want to build an airport, what do you want? There must be road to the airport, and there must be something that they want to sell in the airport. In Kenya, Kenya exports flour to UK on a daily basis. They fly flowers to the UK on a daily basis. So why can't we also think of what we can do? What yam, potato, tomatoes and all that. And as he said, yes. You know, the problem we also had is that our women, they used to complain that the tomato grown in this part of the country is too watery and it gets sour, all this.
But if you look at it, you can tell the difference when you look at it.
But now, when you don't have the one that you say is good,
if you have that one now,
making use of that one now. So we need to go back. And as you have said, why is IITA there? All these things are there because technology has made these things so easy. I mean, even in this studio, you can grow things if you want to. So
perhaps.
So why do you have people who have vast area of land in their compound? They just allow it to, every month they pay some people to come and rake it off.
Maybe it then also goes back to individuals, taking ownership of this. And what do I mean? You spoke about compounds.
Yes.
In Lagos, how do you find compounds that have, ground where stuff can grow? Because it's either tiled or...
Yeah, but even with the tiled ones, with the tiled ones, you can plant.
In bags, in pots.
Bags. If you yams are being planted in bags now. Potatoes can be planted in,
maybe
tomatoes.
Our schools also need to get back to that point
where they have
farms.
Schools, in fact,
cultivate.
You've touched on a very, very good point that we need to emphasize on. When we were in secondary school, we had farms. The school was running a farm, and every student had a portion. So I think we have to go back to that. It doesn't matter. Even in Lagos, there is no... I go to school compound and I say that, okay, the government is not able to tar or floor all this compound. Why is it that some portion of it cannot be turned into farmland? We must begin to think on our feet, because we are in a crisis period. And the crisis is that even when they produce the food from the north or wherever, to transport it to this place is also another issue.
Yes.
So everybody must think that what is it that I can grow, or what is it that the government is must think what is it. Lagos used to have an arrangement with KB State, or Lagos Rice and all those, the Lake Rice, yes. What has happened to it?
So we need to revisit all of this. We need
to revisit all these and cooperate among ourselves.
Even do the rice in the southwest, which we can.
There is a father rice, there is Ekiti.
There's so many.
Right, so there's a lot that can be done.
We talk about this every time. So there's a lot that can be done.
Like you said, what we need to then focus on after all of this talk,
yes,
is to ensure that we don't get bandits, gunmen, herdsmen on the loose to destroy this farm. Because going out these days is even a problem with kidnapping. So we have to work on our security. A lot of people want to go back to the farm. There was a day I drove off the road along the Shagam, Shagam, Abeokuta. We went off the road. We drove on that road for about 45 minutes. Bad road, maybe if it had been tarred, it would have taken us about 10, 15 minutes. But what I saw in terms of small older farmers on the left and right speaks a lot.
But there's only so much they can do.
So much they can do. The same thing along, when you move from Moniya and you start going towards the saying you go to, along those, you see a lot.
There's a way we all need to come together.
Security must
ensure that
there's a colleague of ours who had well, I would say hard, because he has abandoned it now. Who had a farm.
Okay, so we'll revisit that. We'll encourage him to get back to it. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure having you here. Olayinka Igbile, thank you so much for your time and your very rich contributions. Thank you. And Dr. Adewale, thank you so much for being here. Your time on your very laudable contributions as well.
Thank you.
All right, that's it on Journalists Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalists Hangout. On Sunday, we're on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Adewale Adeniyi. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.